Everybody. Welcome to MomSimply. And I love these morning opportunities because it's nice to not have kids in the house and to be able to focus on my guest for once. If you're new to MomSimply, just real quick, this is a platform just for moms, like just to be able to get real content on anything motherhood or women related. And that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on today is wellness for moms. And I'm really excited because this is an old time friend from high school, rocking her red lip today. And Kristen actually has been branding herself as kind of a wellness guru. And so Kristen first is going to kind of share a little bit about who she is, her family, and then we're going to kind of jump right into, what does wellness look like? And she's going to unpack her 4-pillar approach to really living a life of wellness, because as much as I like to think me drinking water during the day is me being healthy, there's a lot more that goes into like actually living a healthy lifestyle. So thank you so much, Kristen. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. This is a long time coming, and Amanda and I go way back all the way to high school, and I'm just so excited for what Amanda's doing. I think it's amazing, and I've told her that time and time again. I'm a big supporter, and I feel like I want to be head of the fan club. I think that bringing women together like this and empowering them is just simply amazing. So
love you for that. Thank you.
I wear a lot of hats. We all do. I'm a mom. Specifically, I have 2 kids that are 14 months apart. So I have a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. I am a wife, but I'm a military wife. So my life picks up and moves. And in fact, we're moving next week cross country. So,
oh my gosh.
And then I'm also a pharmacist, and in my heart of hearts, I'm an entrepreneur. So I do a lot of things and I wear a lot of hats. And I think that having so many hats has kind of taught me that you can have it all. You just may not be able to have it all in one day. And that's okay.
I like that approach because I think a lot of us feel that something's going to suffer, right? One of the balls is going to drop. And I think that's great that each day have a focus, have a priority, and you can do all of it. You just have to kind of maximize that. We'll have to have you on again for how you make that rock, Kristen.
Sounds good.
This is what was intriguing to me. So I don't know if you heard that, but Kristen's a pharmacist. And I think so many of us have this idea of I'm healthy, and then there's pill popping pharmaceuticals. And where you've kind of blended the two and have said these can have a marriage, these can be one and the same. So how did that happen for you?
So throughout pharmacy school and really a lot of medical backgrounds, you focus a lot on treatment, and treatments have their place. I mean, they are great when we need pain management. I mean, when we have severe infections, there is absolutely a place for medicine. But then there's also a part of me that says, what if you don't want to get to that place? Like, what if you don't want to be sick? What if you want to prevent that? Like, where are we focusing our time and our energy on prevention?
Right.
And that's really kind of how this whole brand of Well and Worth and my interest and my devotion to really looking at wellness and furthering wellness came about, because I felt like, gosh, there's so much confusion here. Can I prevent illnesses? Or am I literally just a genetic code that says your dad had cancer, so you're going to get cancer? Or you have breast cancer in your family, or you have whatever it might be in your family, and that's your ticket. That's what your life's going to look like. And I thought, there's got to be more to this. There's got to be a component that we can control with what we eat, with what we use, the products we're using, what we're exposing ourselves to environmentally, our general health and wellness. There's got to be a component to this, something that we can control.
I think what's been so helpful with you, so Kristen's going to kind of share a little bit about her brand, but if you aren't yet on Instagram, because that's really, she goes live on her Facebook page as well, which I'll put that link in, but on Instagram, Well and Worth, you really do a good job giving a backstory. I think there's a lot of, and there's a place for them, but we have people showing us makeup tutorials and, their favorite skincare line, but for those of you who have the logical brain and you really want to know the why behind, what you're using and what it's doing for you, that's Kristen. She you do such a phenomenal job kind of spelling out for people the science behind why this is working and why this is making sense. And I think you nailed it on the head that a lot of people, when they're genetically predisposed to a condition, they think this is a life sentence, I'm just kind of screwed. And they kind of lay over and just accept that I'm going to have to be on X, Y, and Z for the rest of my life. And, what you're trying to show is that, yes, for pain management, yes, for, severe illnesses, of course you need pharmacy, you need medications. But if you approach too by what you're putting into your body, what you're doing for your body, loving on yourself, you can really help change how you feel, how you respond to things, and hopefully, down the road, get off of some of these medications that you're on.
Yeah.
So what's your brand? Like, talk a little bit about what Well and Worth is, Kristen.
So Well and Worth, it was just the brainchild of all of this, and, empowering people and, giving them the information so that they feel like they can make decisions.
Okay.
I always felt like you shouldn't have to be a pharmacist to understand the products that you're using and what you're putting on your body. You shouldn't have to have a degree in toxicology to know if something that you're picking off the shelf for your family is safe or not. But unfortunately, that's the reality right now. And I want to break that down. I want that to not be the situation. I want people to feel like they are empowered and they have the information that they need to go make those choices and feel good about them. Like, as a mom, you want to make choices for your family that you feel good about.
And it's so true that I actually had an incident, Kristen. So with our second daughter, Morgan, which I didn't realize, has a much, different skin type than Autumn, and she reacts a lot differently. We used a lot of name brand products thinking we're using safe stuff. So for example, Johnson & Johnson's, I grew up using that. So I bought that for Autumn, fine. And then I used it on Morgan, and the poor thing rashed out, Kristen. And it wasn't until I saw a reaction that I started researching a bit that how terrible and how many perfumes can have a bad reaction to your poor baby. And thankfully, Kristen shared one of her really great beauty counter lines for kids with Morgan, and she's reacted beautifully to it. And a lot of her, I think it's eczema, really, the inflammation completely went down. And I think that's right. So many of us, we want to do the right thing, but we're confused because you see a baby on a product line and you think it's safe and good because that's what media tells me. I see it in my parent magazines. It must be safe and well. And that's not the case. And that's a really scary, intimidating thing for moms. So have you ever had your friends or family reach out as kind of the go-to person to really help them unpack a lot of stuff, Kristen?
All the time, because, when we see the labels on products, they say natural, vegan, organic. And unfortunately, because the industry is virtually unregulated, the personal care products industry in 2016 was a $62 billion industry. There's approximately 1.5 pages of rules and regulations around that. And that's insane to me. There's only 30 ingredients that are either partially restricted or completely banned in the products that you use every day. So that means that companies can literally knowingly use ingredients that are carcinogens in the products that are marketed to women, pregnant women, and children.
Yes.
We live in a toxic generation, and it's scary.
It's so scary.
It really is. So, I think that I want women to feel empowered. I don't ever want them to feel bullied or pushed into, and I'll give you two prime examples right here. My doctor said to do this, so I'm going to do this. And this happened, I thought of this yesterday. Well, I was watching a segment on the Today Show, Melanoma Monday, and they had sunscreens featured. They had a dermatologist, and here she was recommending all these sunscreens that have dangerous ingredients that we know are harmful for our own health, but for the harm of coral reef and our environment as well. But when you have a dermatologist telling you those things, you're going, must be the right choice. And the same thing with Cetaphil is a brand that I see so many people on, so many dermatologists recommend it. It's fragrance free, so it's great. it only has 8 ingredients in them, and 3 of them are parabens, which are linked to cancer and endocrine disruption. But when your doctor tells you to do it, you do it. And so I really want to empower women with this information that you are so smart. You give yourself so much more credit than you do. Like, you have the ability to really go like, wait a second. I don't know how I feel about that. I hear what you're saying and I respect your profession, but I'm going to look into that a little bit. And that's okay to do that with medicines, with personal care products, with vaccines, with things that you're exposed to in your environment. Do your due diligence. You are smarter than you give yourself credit for. That mama intuition is there for a reason. Don't ever doubt that. Like, don't let anybody bully you into a corner or back you into feeling like you should do something that they say you should do if you don't feel comfortable with it.
Oh, what a good message. And can we just say how scary that, think of how many people probably watched that segment on the Today Show and thought, oh, these are great sunscreens. I'm going to make sure I'm going to stock up on these. I'm going to go wholesale shopping and buy the tub load and think I'm being really safe and great for my kid. And it's sometimes intimidating because there's so much to do as a mom in the day. How do you unpack and research all of this? And I think, what Kristen's going to help show us is she has this idea of 4 pillars to wellness, because a lot of us don't, it's so time consuming to sit here and research, and look up what a paraben is. I didn't even know what a paraben is until you told me it was cancer causing. It's a lot of time, and I wish we could all put your brain in our heads. But that's what your great Well and Birth space is for, so that we can watch it and learn. But starting today, Kristen's going to kind of show these are 4 ways to really start attacking wellness for your family, for yourself, and give us some really quick tips to start working on, especially toward the summer where we're going to be outside. And if we need to use, a bug spray, suntan lotion, what are some healthy alternatives than what we're currently using? So talk about your 4 pillars and kind of how you coined that.
So, and one thing that I'll mention too is it's scary for sure, but just know that there are a lot of great companies and a lot of women who are really pushing for change. And there is currently bills that are pushing forward that will hopefully give us a little bit more protection in this area and make us all feel a little bit better and a little bit more safe for all of us. So just know that there are people out there that are really pushing for this change. And hopefully in the next couple of years, we'll see some of these things. So you won't have to worry about, tackling all these ingredients. And to mention about the sunscreens and things like that, I mean, I went into a Target last year around sunscreen season. And the thing that breaks my heart the most is like all of the packaging and everything that's targeted towards kids. Like all the Disney themed and Cars and Pixar and this and that. And I'm like, as a parent, why wouldn't
so true.
So that aside, Well and Worth really, I thought of 4 different pillars. When you think of wellness in general, you tend to think of, okay, I eat really healthy, so I'm good, right? I ran a marathon, but then you might go home and slather your skin in dangerous ingredients. Or you might be working out at the gym every day, but then you're like, that entitles me to go ahead and eat cheeseburgers and, all this processed food. And so really, it's more of a balanced approach. It's more than just one thing. It's more than just eating healthy. It's more than just exercise. It's also worrying about stress relief. So I say, and I get this phrase from the Blue Zones. The Blue Zones is something that I've really looked into and really have followed and researched much more these past 2 years. They study populations around the world where a larger percentage of their population has lived past 100. So they have these secrets to longevity, and they have kind of connected the dots and try to figure out what it is that these certain communities are doing. Here's the interesting part. Out of the 9 common themes that they have found that these blue zone areas share, only 4 of them are due to health and wellness. That means there's 5 other things that we never hear about.
Wow.
That seem to contribute to longevity. So it's not just what you eat. It's not just your exercise. It's your stress relief for sure. And it's the products that we're using too every day when it comes to personal care products, the products that you're using to clean, all these things together. And there's so many outlying themes as well, but I feel like those 4 pillars are a really great place to at least start.
So let's first unpack nutrition, right? What we're kind of eating during the day, because I think a lot of us, we know our little food pyramid. We try to get our little ones. I know for me, I feel like it's been a successful day when both children have ate their, recommended dose of like vegetables, even if I'm like hiding them in a smoothie. But in general, like what are things that we really, as moms, and also, what we're feeding our families, that we really need to start kind of putting in for what we should be consuming that's really going to help change how we're feeling every day?
So I think we live in a society where we're used to hearing things like, you can't eat that, you shouldn't eat this, you should stay away from this. And my whole philosophy is we really need to shift that mindset. We need to shift our mindset into an area of abundance and nourishment instead of focusing on the things that we can't have. Why don't we focus on the things that we know are really going to nourish our bodies and really heal us? Like, let's stop talking about you shouldn't eat this, you shouldn't eat this. But what if instead I say today, I really want to focus on eating X, Y, and Z? Like, what if today I really want to focus on eating a little bit more?
Like growth mindset all the way, Kristen. And you're right. That small shift and change, I get to eat this, I get to do this for my body, as opposed to what I'm extracting and what I'm preventing myself from enjoying and indulging on. Wow, that alone, I feel, would make such a huge difference to how we view food even.
So nudge out the bad stuff. Don't tell yourself, I can't eat processed foods. But if you really set a goal for yourself and you're like, today I am going to do X, Y, and Z, and I know that is going to help me feel amazing. I know it's going to nourish me. I know I'm going to get a ton of vitamins and minerals from it. I know that I'm going to feel better from the inside out. If I have enough room left over and I'm still hungry at the end of the day and I want those things and I feel like I need to have them, just make less room for them.
So what are 3 main changes a mom can make in her diet? Like, what are kind of your 3 top foodies or changes that would kind of start helping that change start? So maybe we're not all diving full headfirst into wellness, but these are things starting this week that we can really start feeding ourselves and our families with.
Sure. So one thing that I love to do with my kids is I know that they're going to be hungry around snack time. I know what's going to happen. If I were to lay out a plate of chips, they're going to eat it. If I lay out a plate of fruit, they're going to eat it. So one thing that I know that I have, I've actually seen studies on this. If you cut fruits and vegetables and healthy foods in shapes, kids will eat it. So get yourself some cute cookie cutters, cut out some watermelon, some whatever. I know you're thinking, I don't have time for this. This actually takes a lot. And kids go wild over it. If they're hungry.
That's great.
So increase your fruits, increase your vegetables. And one more thing that I want to add that is, and these are all cues from, like I was talking about the blue zone. So these are populations that live past 100. That's where I'm taking these cues from. Beans. Beans are so cheap. You can get them from the bulk bin. When people say it's so expensive to eat healthy, it is so inexpensive, and they have such high levels of protein and fiber and just so many good things. And I think there's a lot of myths around beans. People think, well, they have phytates in them. I hear that they're bad. I should avoid them. But those cook out. So once you cook those out, they're not there anymore. So really, fruits, vegetables, and beans. And here's a mom hack. If you don't have one, get yourself an Instant Pot. I own 3, and they are like the ultimate multitasker for quick, simple, easy meal prep, and to have stuff on hand. So
that's good to know. Okay. Do you ever do recipes for Instapot?
I am like the worst cook ever. I literally.
So am I.
Girl, I tried taking cooking classes. I was like a chef assistant to try and like gain. I think that I'm more freeform. I'm not meant to like, some people are really good. My husband is such a good cook.
So is mine. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I can follow a recipe, but I hate it. I hate the kitchen. I like, I rather do like, here's leftovers. Let's make a quesadilla. Let's, make turkey burgers, and here's some easy sides. Like, I'm not a good, like, here's this beautiful presentation meal. So
you don't have to. I think if you plan in advance, which some people are like, well, I'm not a planner and that takes time. But I have found that if I meal prep on the weekend, meaning if I make a batch of rice, a batch of quinoa, some different beans, I roast some vegetables, I make a couple potatoes, like I have stuff ready to go. During the week, we can use it on salads, in wraps on top of potatoes. Like, we can use all those ingredients for things, and it makes your so much easier.
What about organic? Lisa wrote, do you think is there a really big push? Because that gets really expensive. Is there your top go-tos for buying organic? Or is this something that people could maybe save a little bit on if they're buying just the fruits and the veggies and focusing on the beans? Don't feel like you need to push organic fruit everything.
Yeah, so the EWG does a really great job every year of kind of defining like their dirty dozen, which they feel like are the top pesticide-ridden fruits and vegetables and where you should really focus your attention when buying organic. What I want to say is that if you're eating less processed food and you're eating fruits and vegetables, whether they're organic or not, know that you're already doing a really great thing for your health and your family's health. If you can get organic, focus on those 12 items that they have. That's a really great place to start.
Okay, that's really good advice.
Go above and beyond that, and you're eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, and it's important to you, and you feel like, you know what, this is somewhere that I really want to invest my time and money, and you want to get all organic, go for it. But know that if you cannot afford organic, if it's not in the budget, don't feel like you should just skip it and it's not worth your time. Go to local farmers markets, consider becoming part of like a share of like an agriculture share or something like that.
And shares are great. We did a share last year, which we'll do again. It was bi-weekly. And I actually want to reach out to the woman who runs it and have her be on this to kind of really talk about what are the benefits of a share and what that does for your family, just the experience in general, because I think they're popping up more. And I think the more we can support them, the more we're kind of taking away from these other bad mass producers that are probably putting a lot of pesticides on things that we don't want them on. So that's what I'm hoping for down the road. That's nutrition. Let's unpack products now a little bit, focus on products and because this is really big. This is things we're putting on our skin. These are things that we're cleaning our household with, and it can get really overwhelming and really big. So this is kind of just touching on everything, viewers. Kristen's gonna be on throughout the year, really kind of diving into a lot of these topics, but this is kind of giving a taste of, what Well and Worth is about, what she is about, and small little changes we can start making today. So with products, you have, what are the 3 big no-no products moms should banish and stop buying? Because again, like a small change we can make today, because this is so big. So maybe focusing on, one household, like an item we could take away, and then maybe 2 products we might be using that are big no-nos.
Right. And sometimes when I talk about this, people say, well, I don't wear makeup, so this doesn't affect me. But y'all, this is bigger than that. This is the bubble bath that you're using for your kids, your deodorant, your toothpaste, your cleaning products. Are you spraying insecticides? This goes so much bigger. This is not just a personal care issue. This is a public health issue.
Right.
And it's frightening to know how little we know and how little regulation there is on these products. So I explained to you, really, there is so very little regulation of this industry, which is why it's so important. And so I'll give you 3 things to look out for. This first one, you're going to feel like is a little bit challenging because it does kind of knock out a lot of products. Number 1, I'm going to say is fragrance. Yes, fragrance as far as perfume, but I also mean if you take any product that you have around your house and you turn it around, does it say the word fragrance in it? Here's the thing about fragrance. Fragrance is a loophole in our industry, Fragrance is a trade secret, so they are not required to disclose that information, meaning that they can hide all sorts of preservatives, phthalates, endocrine disruptors, ingredients that lead to cancer, and not tell you anything except for fragrance or perfume. So that is something that companies will hide behind. They will call it trade secret, and you, unfortunately, on the other end as a consumer, will get left in the dark. So here,
oh my gosh, my mind is blown right now. So literally anything, whether it's a cleaning product or for our bodies or for our home, if it says fragrant on it, that's what they're hiding behind. That's kind of the Oz curtain, so to speak. Oh, so that's terrible. Okay.
Start to use more natural type things. They'll say we use essential oils and they'll spell out what they are for their fragrance. Demand that knowledge, demand that transparency. That is something that you deserve to know. And as you had said with your daughter, if you have children that have eczema or allergies, those hidden ingredients are what are going to cause those allergic reactions and those long-term problems. You deserve better. You deserve to know what is in your products. So look for the word fragrance inside.
You just blew my mind. Then that's going to be crazy today, but that alone is so huge. And I bet a lot of us, and I think you've talked about this too, Mr. Bauer, our old earth science Friends of the Planet teacher, you would be so happy because a lot of these things are so bad environmentally too.
They totally are. So
okay, so we get rid of fragrance. What's our number 2 thing we do, Kristen?
Yes, I would say when it comes to cleaning products, get yourself away from the idea that everything needs to be completely clean all the time. And I know this sounds counterintuitive, but germs are good for you. Germs are what challenge your immune system and allows your body to create that immune response and kind of work. You know what I mean? If we live in a sterile environment, what does that mean for your body? If we kill all the germs at all times, that is not good. Like, I'm a big fan of letting my kids play in the mud because I really think that it really helps the good bacteria in your body and it really helps your immune system. So if you're using harsh cleaners, get rid of them. You will be amazed at what cleaning cloths can do. I don't care which brand you use. If you use Norwex or if you go on Amazon and find a cleaning cloth, you will be amazed at what you can clean with just a cloth and water. Particularly windows, if you have little ones and they're usually covered with fingerprints, I mean, it is like better than any Windex could do. So switch out.
It's so good you say that. I had a Norwex party and my windows, I have an older home to begin with, so it's really challenging because it's the double pane glass and they're just always kind of smudgy. And she did the same, she did a demo with her cleaning cloth and then she had this like buffer cloth. I was shocked at how transparent my window became. And she made such a good point that, you know, all babies, but they can be window lickers and they'll shove their face up against it. And you think, would you let your daughter drink a bottle of Windex? And that was a big like wake up call for me personally, that I would have a heart attack if she was playing with Windex, but how is it any different? Because this is leaving residue behind. So cleaning cloths, you know, these are for, you said windows, probably surfaces too, right?
Yep.
Okay.
You don't need to be Cloroxing and Windexing and at all times. I mean, like you said, there's residue, those chemicals, those stay in our environment here. They don't magically disappear. I mean, those are things that your kids are walking on, they're absorbing into their skin. Our skin's our largest organ. I mean, if you're not slathering it directly on your skin and you're breathing it in, those are things that have cumulative effects. This is not just something that happens once in a while. These are products that we're using day after day, week after week, year after year. You get the idea. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1 can equal 3,000.
Yeah. Such a good point. So we have no fragrances, get cleaning cloths. Do you have one more?
Yes. So I'm not going to talk about a specific thing that you can do, but here's what I want to say. These changes don't need to be made overnight. It doesn't need to be, okay, I heard this from Kristen, I'm going to throw out everything I own. Do it as you run out of products. Do it as, think about the things that you use most frequently. Think about the things that cover your body the most. Think about the things that you use on your kids. So a moisturizer, a sunscreen, lotions, things that you're covering your whole body and that are sitting on. Start with the most important things first. Does it make such a difference if you're going to change out something that you use once every 3 months, or maybe something that is thrown in the car and you don't think about? Maybe not so much, but I understand this can be a change. It can be expensive when you're changing things out. I mean, right? Nobody has the need to just say, I'm just going to completely overhaul everything. Don't feel like you need to. Know that any step in the right direction is a really great step for your family.
Let's unpack now, because we looked at nutrition, we looked at products, and these are things that that are probably more, they're going to have a financial change, right? When we're buying these things and we're making those changes. And there's also lifestyle changes too, not just things that we're buying, but how we're dealing with things. And one of the pillars that Kristen talked about is stress relief and how we're managing that. And I want you to share, what is a way that we can start downshifting? Because I think especially as moms, and we were talking about this before we went live, you wear a lot of hats. Kristen recently just went on a work trip and her husband for the first time was manning the camp by himself. And she gets a phone call sharing, I don't know how you did this when I was on military leave for 4 months. And because it's a lot as a mom. It's just, that's the season we're in. And it can be really easy that when we're just spinning out of control, that we don't take time to temperature check, how stressed out am I? Am I taking care of myself? So what's kind of a way you've found to take a moment to really manage that stress for yourself, Kristen?
Yeah. So stress relief is one of those areas that I think when it comes to wellness, people just don't think about. They think, yeah, when I'm 50 or 60, I'll worry about that, but I'm just not stressed right now. I don't feel stressed. But here's the thing. When you get to the point of feeling stress, you've gone too far. You're already in this point where now you need to fix this problem. We need to think about this proactively from a standpoint of how can I prevent this? And, you know, I think a lot of times when you think of self-care and stress relief and downshifting and relaxing, people think of indulging and this really indulgent feel and treat yourself, like, you know, like all these things. But here's the truth of the matter. You need to do this so frequently that it doesn't feel like you're spoiling yourself. This needs to be a part of your everyday routine. I don't care if you're meditating for 2 minutes using an app on your phone, or if you love painting or use an adult coloring book or read 2 chapters out of a book. It needs to be something that you are doing consistently such that it doesn't feel like a treat, but it's just something that you deserve. And I had the privilege of listening to Maria Shriver speak this weekend, and that was one. Know your deserve. Know that you are worth it, and then investing in your own health and wellness and stress relief is something that will pay dividends long term, whether you realize it or not. Know your deserve, know your worth, and really, really invest on downshifting and stress relief every single day, whether you want to or not.
I love that because, and I think that's probably a relief for a lot of people, that it doesn't have to be this hour-long, you know, workout session or walk by yourself. That, you know, maybe you're a morning person and it's taking that time before the craziness of the morning happens, that you're taking, you know, there's a book called Miracle Morning that really gets into how productive you can be when you take back your mornings. And it's hard. It's a hard shift to start getting up. And I know I'm a big snooze button. A lot of times you have my kids are my alarm clock in the morning, but I can tell you what, it is a dream of a difference when I get up before them and I can set myself right for the day. It just sets my whole tone differently, and even with how I'm responding to them. And, or if it's midday for you, find that chunk of time where you're knowing you deserve what you shared, and, you know, feeding your cup a little bit, loving on yourself a little bit so that you can be a better you for everybody.
Consistency is so much more important than intensity. Like I said, if you spend 2 minutes a day and you're doing it consistently, you will see far more results doing that than one day, once in a great while, just doing, you know what I mean? It's the same thing like if you were to work out. If you were to work out consistently every day, your results would add up. But if one day, 1 month, you were like, I'm going to go to the gym for 8 hours, what do you think your results are going to be like? And that's the same thing with your stress relief and your overall well-being. Invest in doing it every single day. It will add up.
I love these one-liners. Did you get these from your conference? Consistency over intensity, know your deserve. These are great.
I listen to like thousands of audiobooks. I'm one of those lifelong learners. Everything that I learn, I like to share forward because it's too powerful not to.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Just that alone is probably going to resonate with so many people, to just be consistent over small chunks versus doing it all at once, which I think a lot of us do, especially if, you know, how many moms are guilty of this when your kids are invited to do some pool thing and you're like, crap, I have to put a bathing suit on. I better starve myself and work out over the next 3 days. That's going to do nothing, versus if you're slowly eating healthy and doing those small shift changes that Kristen talked about, and, you know, indulging, you know, just being more cognizant of the processed food that you're eating, and then maybe just doing a little 20-minute yoga sesh. That's going to make a big difference versus killing yourself over a pool birthday party for your little one.
Absolutely.
Okay, the last piece is we're going to talk about moving naturally. And I love that you said that, because I think so many people hear exercise and just dread it. and it's intimidating and they're confused and they feel that they need to invest in this crazy workout plan. And if you're anything like me, I'm a peer pressure workout person. And what I mean by that is I am a better version working out when I have, you know, prying eyes on me, that I'm not going to give up as soon as I'm like dry heaving because cardio is really intense. And you're not, it's enjoyable. So talk about what this move naturally concept is real quick.
I mean, if you think about all of the manual labor that used to be a part of a person's normal life, even just a century ago, and what it looks like now, it's so different. Think about all of those manual tasks that now we have converted to make our lives easier. But what does that mean? For the majority of us and a lot of people that work at a desk, they'll sit all day long, which we're now hearing that sitting is as dangerous as cigarette smoking. And then they'll go to the gym for a quick hour workout and think that they're kind of on an even playing field. And unfortunately, I mean, that's just not the case. I mean, we really need to get to a point where we are moving naturally and we are nudging ourselves to be more active in a way that it doesn't even feel like activity for us. I mean, and this can be things like, you know, walking more and biking more, swimming, but it can be playing with your kids. It can be anything where you are really getting out there and you're preventing yourself from just sitting or standing. If your kids are making a tunnel or a fort in the living room, get down there and make a fort or a tunnel with them. You will burn so many calories and not even have realized it. And you could have had taken all the time to get yourself to the gym, to spend money on a trainer or workout and really focus right there. Or you can really get into it and get your whole family involved and not even realize it.
And you know what, Kristen, not only is that going to have benefits physically on you, but that connection time of having your kids see you be silly and just putting your phone down, putting all of the noise of the world down and just paying attention to them, undivided attention for that playtime, what that'll do for their little cup and how loved they will feel from those moments is undoubtedly the most invaluable thing you could do for them. So it's a benefit both ways.
I mean, race your kids, challenge your kids, play hide and seek with your kids.
Yeah.
And you think that's going to be like 20 calories. You will be really surprised how much that's
true. I took the girls to the park yesterday and Autumn loves chase games right now. Girl, I was never a good runner before. She's so fast now, but you're right. Like I played hard for an hour and yeah, she's a little track star. She's going to be like a mini daddy.
It's so nice to like be there running around and being goofy with them. It seriously is so good on so many levels.
Yeah, and you feel so much happier. Like you feel great. Who doesn't love to be a giant kid still? I mean, that's my life motto. If I can be a giant child as long as possible, I feel like I'm being successful somewhere.
I mean, do somersaults in the grass, do cartwheels with them, run and chase around, turn on the sprinkler and run through it with them. Don't just sit like in the chair and watch them and don't yell at each other. Don't run too fast. I mean,
right.
Get out there, get with
Get up. And it's such a good point. And I think a lot of us can get guilty of it if we take them to the park or, you know, we're too in here, right? And they see that. And I think all of these small shifts, this is what Kristen's telling us is, you know, having those moments of what wellness can be for you. And as you make these small shift changes with the food that you're consuming, the products that you're using, really looking for those words like fragrance, really looking at what you're using most specifically on yourself, lotions, particularly sunscreens, downshifting, having that moment that you're investing in yourself, even if it's 2 minutes long, and how that consistency over intensity is so powerful and impactful. And then lastly, really talking about moving naturally. Exercise doesn't have to look like you're just at the gym all of the time. It's playing with your kids. It's, you know, gardening outside. It's playing chase with them. It's maybe going for a walk instead of going in the car, you know, with your family to go get the ice cream. And then you can walk back and feel like having that ice cream wasn't so bad. And, you know, really check out Well and Worth with Kristen, because I know for me and my family, I've been utilizing a lot of her resources because this isn't someone who's just, all of a sudden made the shift of, I want to be healthy and organically living. This is someone who has a pharmaceutical background. She's got, tons of degrees after her name, and she's using science and logic to apply what's necessary to have you be a healthier version, not only for yourself, but also for your family too. And I just appreciate you so much for coming on, Kristen, and kind of sharing all of this knowledge, your big brain with us.
Thank you for having me from the bottom of my heart. I love, love, love being with women like this. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're fantastic. And anyone, I'm going to put some notes on here too later about some of the things we talked about, but look for Kristen to be back because she's my health guru lady.
Thank you so much.
Have a good day and good luck moving, Kristen.
Thank
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, I think you're already out.